Before we go on with the first leg fencing tactic, I need to say that leg fencing tactics don't exist. Sounds like a contradiction in terms. It's not. Back to the biomechanics workshop. Everything happens from these two figure eights. When we say leg fencing tactics, what that means is don't compartmentalize these. Look at these as tools to accomplish our overall gain. When we looked at the upper body, we had power transfer and locking arm. Now, they don't exist in reality because it's all one thing, but we're breaking it down just so it's digestible. When you work on one of the principles, all of them occur simultaneously, so be aware of them, but don't take them as dogmatic. Don't say, well, we're going to be doing all tripping tonight. Look at this as a way of taking the figure eight and helping you improvise techniques to work on so that when you're in a dynamic sphere, they come as required. We'll start with the trip. No hallucinogens. The trip will begin by understanding that our objective is merely to place a leg adjacent to his so that it will stop his continued motion. That's what a trip means. It's a tactic, not a technique. If I do a specific motion and say it's something, it's a technique. Get away from that concept. Go to a tactic so you have more flexibility in your options. We'll start with a basic inside trip, meaning figure eight, foot comes over and back as the weight transfer happens. Where's the triangle point? Right there, correct? What's the relationship of his legs? I'm not trying to hammer him back. I want to screw him into the ground and control his descent. So back here we are to this elevation at the femoral joint. We tilt in, heel comes just barely through. Nothing. The less contact you have with the ground, the less control you have. Small motion, a great throw is less. And there you are. Other side. Trip happens very easily. All we have to do is shift. And it's done. To the other side. Figure eight. Behind. And it's done. We'll give some more examples. Back to our blizzard of technical demonstrations. Trip. We need to place a foot adjacent to his to cause him to move towards this triangle point. We have our locking arm, we have our power transfer, we have our pelvis. Add the leg figure eight. The first, I'm going to dust Scott off so I don't plow into him. Stepping behind. We go through this slowly. We're not Paul Bunyan chopping away at the trees. This gets you planted on your rump. Don't lead with the leg. Lead with the pelvis. Here. Beyond. Now, to go down, just ride him. Down to the ground. Optimally, what you want to do, and we'll discuss this in a later series, is land on his respiration. He acts as a pillow. If you control his respiration, you control his intention. From here, now you can work. Because his mind is on, why can't I breathe? Have a high back. Here's my power transfer hand. So I want to seduce him in tighter into middle range. You lock. He steps forward. Now we're going to go a bit deeper, but not around. He can feel this. But leg fencing, come inside. The closest delivery sneaks around using your full articulation. So we're not trying to chop at him. We're trying to screw him into the ground. If your leg moves around, you place your heel down, what happens to his femoral joint? He screws. Locking arm, power transfer. He fell in front of you because you screwed him around. You bring him in. You control him the whole way through. A leg fencing tactic doesn't mean you're simply using your leg. You cannot ignore the prior principles that we've worked on. There has to be an overall juxtaposition of all of the tactics we've worked throughout. Finally, we bring him in tight. He comes in, we can throw beyond both legs. But did you see this pendulum swing? Oh, submissions. You see the pendulum swing from the pelvis. We bring him in. We sink beyond by throwing the pelvis through. Don't lead with your legs. It's not leg driven, it's body driven. Use your full body to articulate for his downfall.